So, Death of the Party.
Death of the Party.
Basically, combine Clue and Werewolf, and then add LARPing. It's not really a board game. I hesitate.
It's a multi-room.
I hesitate to even. I mean, there are cards involved, but I hesitate to call it a traditional card game.
It's not.
It's
Well,
not- yeah, it's
traditional,
not a card
absolutely
game.
not. It's a LARPing. It's a LARPing game that involves cards.
Okay, yeah, that's a better way to describe it.
That's a good description.
We are the only three that have played it. You have not.
I have not.
No, so.
She's not had a chance to murder.
And that, no,
Have the
it's
joy of
real,
that.
yeah, real sad. And so now we get the joy of explaining to her how the game is played.
Yay.
And by the same token, explaining to everyone else who's watching how to play the game.
I am the audience.
Well, you see, the game starts with a murder.
Yay.
What? You don't say.
Tell me more about murder.
So yeah, I've got all the art assets on here. I can just pull up the rules. I
Somebody who has a good on-screen voice read this.
Death of the Party
go on.
is a social card game that can get. Death of the Party is a social card game that combines hidden identity elements with the classic murder mystery. The players take on the roles of famous fictional detectives, at least one of whom is secretly a killer who pretends to solve crimes by framing others.
So, but here's the thing though, like, there's different roles in the game. Like, most people are going to be just innocent partygoers, but at least one or two people are going to be killers. The partygoers can be killers.
They can.
Yes.
Yeah, you can go on a killing spree even if
Okay,
you're not
but
meant
then
to.
Do you not become a killer?
Well,
No.
not according to the mechanics of the game.
No, you're trying to find
So-
like
so
the
if I-
killer.
I'd like, to,
I'm
I'd
game.
like to go over this table of contents, by the way, because one of these is a really good, really good header. There's setting up the game, the staff, before the game begins, beginning the game, playing the game, how to commit murder.
Well, that elevated quickly.
That escalated really quick.
I like
Right,
that.
So the objective of the game is that the partygoers try to determine how many killers there are and place them under house arrest. The killers are trying to murder someone and get away free and alive by the end of the game.
That's generally the goal of a murder.
You don't win if you die.
Oh.
So the idea is you have a set of staff players. Those are players who are familiar with the game and are able to explain the rules to other people as needed. And the staff will set up the game and answer any questions about gameplay.
There's male characters, female characters, and then staff characters. And the staff characters usually are the people that are most familiar with the game in the group. Okay, so this is like the identity. Okay, so preparing the identity envelopes is what's currently in the rules here. Basically,
Slap your laptop.
the way it works is when you start the game, you have a stack of envelopes labeled persona, and those are all like the detective characters and stuff. So then you have the persona envelopes, and then you have another stack of envelopes labeled identity, and that's
Like
killer
persona is the character you're playing,
or persona, and then you have identity,
and
So you
identity
can't, like-
is who you are. Are you a party
or a killer, and like it's shuffled. It's completely random. You don't know what you're gonna get.
And
So
so
it's not like D&D where like you make yourself into a character and then just keep playing that character?
No, it's all
or-
it's all predetermined.
Okay.
Like
Yeah, it's like a fresh start every time.
yeah, like here's the
there's a list of characters.
yeah, like here's all the characters here.
including
I don't know, they all look pretty murdery.
Okay, so we loosely went over how the identity and personas kind of work. Also, it's a party game, and yeah, it requires multiple rooms to play.
That
And
I think is the best part about
Right.
this game.
However, we were when we were kind of coming up with these rules, or when they were coming up with the rules, the other game designers, that is, a lot of people we know live in apartments, and so multiple rooms would be kind of difficult, and so there is a version of the game that only requires 2 rooms, and I think with 2 rooms you can have anywhere between 4 and 6 players playing the game.
I think you're getting ahead of yourself though, because you're describing like playing the game across multiple rooms, but what are the rooms for?
Basically, the way it works is you walk into a room, and if there's multiple people in the room, you each take a drink card, and there's a number on the back. You take a drink card, and you take an item card off the table as well. And so everyone has the drink card, and there's the number. and then there's a round of suspicion questions, and so I'm doing an awful job explaining this. Basically,
This is
I'll
after
keep
the
explain.
murder.
I'll take over for the suspicion questions.
all right, thank you.
But just clarify for me, this is after the murder has already been.
There's an initial.
There is
There's
Yeah,
a,
there's an initial murder
then
that
that
does
kicks off the
kick
game.
off the game.
yeah.
Okay.
That is always how the game starts. Is there's like a whole phase where everybody closes their eyes, and that's kind of where the idea is. That's where the initial murder happens, and then everyone opens their eyes, and oh my God, there's been a murder.
Well, and
Wouldn't that be more like
well, here-
close your eyes, murder surprise?
well, here's
murder surprise.
well the thing
Home.
the reason that everyone closes their eyes is the one or multiple murderers in the room open their eyes and then place a clue and cause a death card on the initial body.
Well,
and-
they'll identify each other, so all of the killers know who the other killers are, but no one else knows who they are. They may choose, like, between them, like, which one of them is going to leave the initial clues at the
Yeah.
murder scene.
Right,
Okay, so
and
like you're not all leaving a bunch of weird different like,
No.
causes of death. Like,
Yeah.
It's
you're
not like the Caesar
Like
stabbing.
he didn't get poisoned and stabbed and also.
the initial
Got a
victim was
dildo
not
shoved down
Rasputin.
his-
Basically, the clue that gets left behind at the initial murder is kind of a tell for because after that, if it's depending on the clue, you can immediately narrow down like who the potential killers are.
Because, for
How?
example,
How?
every persona card, one of those characters that you play, lists things that character always has.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one character might have gloves. So if you find
Bloody gloves.
if you find bloody gloves, that narrows it down to the set of characters who
have
have bloody gloves.
Ugh, bloody gloves.
Or just gloves in
Well,
general.
who have gloves.
Who
Yeah,
just
yeah, who just
constantly
have-
bloody gloves.
It's for
You know what
fire.
these gloves could use?
Period gloves.
Much better.
Nobody caught that.
But in any case, after that initial murder, you pretty much, the idea is you kind of wander around the different rooms. Multiple people in one room may choose to do a round of play, and so they all draw cards, take a number basically, and you go from lowest to highest number.
And are there like decks of cards like situated in each room? Or?
Every room has like a stack of what you call drink cards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are always
Oh, right,
shuffled.
right, what you said earlier.
When you're doing a round of play, the idea is every person gets one suspicion question.
Mm-hmm.
And this question might be asking if somebody else, for instance, asking if somebody else still has their gloves.
And the way that works is with your persona card, you have a bunch of other cards that like represent all the items that character has, and at the initial murder you have to leave one of those cards behind if you're the killer for the initial murder. And if during a suspicion question phase, if someone asks you if you have your gloves, you're kind of screwed because you
left your
yeah,
gloves
at-
behind.
Do you have to answer if like,
you
they don't
you
see-
don't
have to
you don't have to
answer.
answer. No, you can or you can lie. You can say you can do some bullshit thing like, "Oh, I do have my gloves, but you don't need to see them."
Right, that's the thing is
Yeah.
because you could say, "Oh yeah, I have my gloves," and refuse to show
can,
them.
Can you say that you left them in your car?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
could if you want.
You could. It just
Nothing's
might
stopping
look
ya.
bad.
Yeah,
What
people
if
are going
you
to
have a second pair of gloves?
well, that's actually a thing that can
That's
happen.
a game mechanic. You can
so
find a second pair of gloves.
so next to all the drink cards, there's like just an array of face down item cards that are completely random essentially, and if you're the only person in the room, you can turn all of them over and figure out which one you want to get. However, that's usually not the case.
if you're in a room with other people, you with the round of play, you draw a drink card and then one of those face down cards, and you don't know which one you get until you look at it. You just keep that one.
Yeah, you're committed at that
So you
point.
pretty much just get a random item from that room, and hopefully, probably not, but hopefully it's one you actually need.
Oh yeah, here we go. So just here's the rules regarding like clues and weapons and
Just
stuff
hit
like
people in
that.
the face with your laptop. Just
With the evidence those items leave behind on the reverse, each persona has 2 item clues, an exclusive item to that persona, and a generic item shared with other personae. Some drawer cards have replacement items that match those that come up with the persona. Okay. Suspicious question. freely ask to see any item associated with the clue. The question is answered by showing the item, not the clue. Do you have to show the item? No, right? You could just.
No, you don't
just,
have.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I left it in my car.
That's your story. That's your cover-up.
Special item clues are biological evidence that can be left at a crime. Each persona has 3 special item clues. Suspicion questions can only be asked by a player who has the appropriate special item. In these cases, the question is answered by showing the clue. Intangible clues are evidence that can be associated with a persona but cannot be verified. No suspicion questions can be asked about these clues.
That makes them very valuable.
Oh, weapons!
clues.
My favorite. There are 2 kinds of weapon cards. Weapons from identity envelopes and lockboxes have a weapon on one side and a COD.
Cause of death.
Oh, cause of death on the other, such as a gunshot or stab wound. Weapons from drawer cards have a weapon and cause of death on the same side. Weapons have a value on the card that can be compared when one player tries to kill another. See how to commit murder.
So like if you so on the other side of the gun is the cause of death, which is gunshot wound.
Mm-hmm.
So if you kill someone with a gun, you flip it over, you leave a gunshot wound because that's how they died.
You can't just leave the gun.
Well,
What? Bang!
well, technically you are leaving the gun.
Technically, yeah, you actually are leaving the gun.
What if I need it? Why would I leave the gun if I needed it? Why?
Because all the guns, the way it works is every gun only has 1 shot.
Well,
Oh.
well,
The way murdering, or the way combat works in the game is every weapon is assigned a number. And there's a little bit of RNG. So every weapon has a number. And say I have a gun and Alan has a knife. The gun has like
come at me, bro.
the gun has a weapon rating of 9 and the knife probably has like a 1. So I win.
The idea, though, actually behind guns, is that guns can have like multiple shots. So what actually happens is you will get 1 gun card per shot.
But you have like 4 gun cards.
So you'll have like 4 gun cards, and you like leave one of them.
Okay.
You leave the cause. You flip it over, leave the cause of death.
Question. Okay,
Go
if
ahead.
2 different people have weapons, and for example, they both have the same like points on them, can you kill each other?
There was a tie mechanic in the game and it got taken out. So there's no ties
There
anymore.
are no weapons that have the same value as any other weapon now. There's always one of them will always be larger.
Well, there's also the backstab mechanic, and that is and that's actually the preferred method of killing people.
Probably the safest way. To,
Yeah,
to
is
get
you-
away
Yeah, I
with
think
it.
I used that once.
Yeah, because you have to sneak up behind someone, just lay a cause of death and a weapon card, or no, cause of death and a clue on them when their back is turned to you, and then they're
So you
dead.
can pretty much like go up like behind somebody's back and just like put the
Right.
stuff like on their
It's
deck.
like, okay, if you're just fucking standing there and you feel a tap on your shoulders, the card just gonna fucking fall?
Well, no,
Or
you
did
you hand it to the victim, and then they're dead for the rest of the game. But then like the confrontations I was talking about earlier, where you actually have to compare weapon values, that is a case when the victim actually has a chance to defend himself.
Yeah.
And if he does successfully defend himself, and this is always where I get a little bit confused. I think I think the victim has to leave. No, the attacker has to leave behind his blood card.
Because it's like the
Yeah.
idea is you like they fought back, and even if they didn't win, there's still like defensive wounds.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so later, if someone has like a UV lamp and says, "Hey, can I check your blood?" They can't because they don't have that
Like you
blood card
don't
anymore.
have your blood card anymore because you left it as defensive wounds on the person you tried to murder because they were able to defend themselves.
Well, tried to murder. I don't
defenses.
think there's a situation in which
Vampire-y.
there is no situation in which there's a confrontation and both parties walk away. One of them dies.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Well, yeah. The other scenario is either you try to murder and are successful, or you try to murder and you actually die
Right.
because they won. But yeah, so like you might go and try to murder someone. They might defend themselves, be unsuccessful, but meanwhile you've left your blood spatter card, and somebody can if they have a UV kit, they can ask for yours, which you don't have, which makes you kind of screwed.
And this actually makes for a good segue to I guess So all the items are color coordinated. There's 3 different types of clues. There's red clues, which can't be asked about because that's like blood and fingerprints. There's well, actually no, fingerprints.
Fingerprints, you need
Well, those are
a fingerprinting kit to ask about.
okay. No, the purple clues are the ones that you need a special item to ask about. There is still like a red clue. I think it's like
the red clue.
the red clue is like the muddy footprint.
Well, think about like
Yeah.
muddy footprint or cigarette ashes.
Right.
Like you can't just ask somebody, "Can I see your cigarette ashes?" You
Yeah,
can't ask them to see their muddy footprint.
Right. But the purple clues like blood spatter, there's a corresponding item called a UV kit that you can use to check people's blood. There, with hair samples, you can use a magnifying glass, and with fingerprints, you can use a fingerprinting kit. So those are all purple clues and items.
Red are the most valuable to leave behind
Because
they
they're-
can't be asked about. Like, so if you leave behind cigarette ashes, that is one of the safest clues to leave behind and potentially get away with it.
So there's the purple clues, the red clues, and then the green clues are like those correspond to items that your character has on them. Like, say, I'm wearing glasses and I commit a murder. One of the clues I can leave behind is a glass shard.
Like the glass shard is like if you flip the card over, there's a glass shard on the back, so you would leave that behind. Somebody can ask to see if you still have your glasses, which makes green clues a bit dangerous to leave.
Yeah.
But
Right.
if you're out of options, you might have to leave one of those.
But also those are the clues that you can find just in the rooms.
Yeah, so you could find a replacement, and that way, if somebody asks to see it, you still have one.
So all this making sense?
Sure.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
There is
good.
one thing
Your
about this.
laptop back?
There's one thing about this game, and it's that this game actually makes a hell of a lot of sense once you've played it.
Like what?
It makes no, that is true. It makes a lot of sense once you play it. Beforehand, I think it is thoroughly one of the most confusing games I've ever had to try to get explained to me.
I had to try to get explained.
Basically,
But then
it's
like it's like the
once you play a game literally just once, and you more or less get it.
Yeah.
right. It's
Okay.
like it's that sort of like you just kind of internalize it, and you're like, oh, okay, this actually all
Plus,
all fits together.
I really like how I think my favorite part about this game, besides the fact that it like it involves different rooms, like it's a house LARP essentially.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Is that it feels very realistic
Yeah.
in
there-
the fact that there are distinctive stages in each room. Like when you go into a room with people and you start like a thing, it's like this happens and this happens and this happens and then that is over and you move on. But it's incredibly fluid how you can just walk for as long as you want and observe or go into a room or stay in a room or do anything you want.
Well,
You have this incredible freedom.
Yeah, that's one thing is like the rules don't impose almost any limitations on how you can approach the game as a like in terms of strategy.
Yeah.
And with the whole LARPing thing, there is a real sense of tension.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because you don't like you pretty much don't want to be alone in a room with someone.
No, yeah,
That is
and
the
it's probably a
opposite.
bad
like
idea.
there is a legit thing, like when you're getting ready to murder someone, like your blood does begin to
Oh
Yeah.
boil.
god, yeah.
Like,
Start
you-
to freak out a little bit.
Yeah, like your blood does come to a boil
Your
when you're about to.
Your adrenaline
Yeah.
kind of shoots up as you're like approaching somebody from behind. Like, please don't turn around.
Right. Like
my
you
God,
you
am I
are
actually gonna-
actually murdering this person.
Am I actually gonna get away with this? PI.
If I end up being a murderer, I need quiet shoes.
Well, that's actually an interesting thing. The way murders work is if you murder someone with a knife, that it counts as a silent murder. You can just literally just murder the person and walk away.
Well, that it may not be silent if it's from the front, right?
You can let out a scream, yeah.
But if you,
But
like,
it's one individual scream, and that is all. You have hit your scream quota at that point.
right. But your quota.
Like
Well,
you,
you're just like, ah!
according to the mechanics
Yeah.
of the game, you can only scream once if there is an actual confrontation. But if there's
you
a backstab,
them, it's silent.
However, if you're using a gun,
Yeah.
then the victim just starts screaming the word bang over and over again to kind of get everyone's attention. Like, oh my god, there's a gun. It's loud. It's going to echo throughout the entire house.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that a murder happened. They don't know who is the murderer and who the victim is. They just know some shit's going down.
So
but-
basically,
okay,
you
wait,
may want to, if
wait.
you kill somebody with a gun, you want to get the hell out of there because they're going to start shouting. Bang.
Yeah.
One other thing that we never really talked about is, so what do you do? Like, there's the loss conditions. Like, say you get murdered, you're not allowed to, like, according to the mechanics of the game, people can still ask you questions, but you can't actually talk.
You can only show cards.
Yeah.
Oh god, that's right.
Yeah. At that point, you're more or less obligated to answer with like
you can't lie if you're
right. And then there's also house arrest. So there comes there's the suspicion question phase, and then there's the accusation phase.
Which is like if somebody and the accusation phase is optional. If somebody decides they're ready to try and accuse somebody, after the suspicion rounds are over, they can try and accuse someone. You can only accuse one person for one round of accusations, and so you can try and accuse someone, make your case, and then
And there's a vote.
put it to a vote.
In a game where there are multiple murderers, in the first, or let's say there's an accusation phase and someone gets acquitted and found guilty, they are placed under house arrest. And what that means is they can still talk to people, they can still answer questions, but they also have to give up all of their items to the staff members.
So you
Do you
like
have to
the
be
staff.
creative if you want to murder somebody, or like you have
If
to
you're
invite
under
them
house
over
ar-
for tea?
Wait, are we talking post house arrest?
Yeah.
You can't do pretty much
Invite
anything.
somebody for tea and then murder them with their cup, or
No.
Can't do nothing really.
No,
Then with
if
the
you're
bed
under house
sheet.
arrest, you're basically stuck.
that's
Yeah.
boring. And
Well,
So don't get placed under house arrest.
right.
Just
Yeah,
don't
just
get
don't
accused.
don't get caught.
don't get caught committing.
And
murder.
then, but there are some situations in which no one can win, because I think, according to the vanilla rules of the game, the way the partygoers win is to find all of the killers, put them under house arrest, and survive. That's how you win. The way the killers win is to basically get away with the initial murder, and if that usually involves killing all the partygoers, and I can't remember if we've actually had a game where that's happened.
Where like all of the partygoers died.
Yeah, like there have been some like legitimate bloodbaths in this game.
Oh goodness, yeah.
But then there's also games where like no one wins. Where, for example, the partygoers, they enter an accusation phase, and then they acquit the wrong person.
Yeah.
Yeah, they acquit a partygoer, and so they're like, "Yay, we win!" And then everyone reveals their identity cards, and it's like, "Oh crap, we just convicted another partygoer, and the killer walks free. Awesome."
Well, I mean, somebody wins in that case.
Okay, yeah,
The
the
killer
killer
wins.
wins technically, yeah. But yeah, that's all vanilla rules. There's also all these advanced rules that are pretty
those
neat.
are like rules you can use like at your discretion.
right.
You could also, if you
They're
wanted to.
they're mutators.
Yeah, they're like mutators, but also like if you wanted to, like if you really wanted to, you have the freedom to just come up with like house rules.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, nobody's telling you how to live life.
Like I think one of the game designers was talking. He knows someone that lives in an area that is frequented by a lot of storms, and it might be listed in there actually. But if you murder someone with a gun at the same time that there's a
Like a thunderclap.
like a thunderclap,
Then like they
then
don't
it-
have to shout bang.
yeah, exactly.
Like the idea is like the thunderclap like masked the gunshot, and
Yeah.
so nobody knows about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Which
Oh, you
really
can
just
handle-
feels like noir.
You can
know?
hand
Yeah.
over your weapons to the staff after you get placed in house arrest, and then if that member of staff is a killer, they can choose to keep the weapons.
Yeah, that's another.
That's pretty neat.
There's I think a lot of people's favorite advanced rule in there, which unfortunately we have not encountered this yet, is so one of the weapons in the game is poison, and in the vanilla rules, all weapons have an immediate effect. However, in the advanced rule, you attack someone with the poison, and there's a delayed reaction. The
So it's
poison doesn't kick in until the next round, until the victim enters the next round of suspicion questions,
So what would
and
happen-
then when it comes to their turn to ask a question, they just keel over and die.
Yeah.
So it's
It's-
like you'll just be in the middle of a round of play, and it hits somebody's turn, and that person dies before they can say anything.
Yeah.
Like true murder mystery fashion.
I have a feeling that would just turn into you putting your finger up, taking in a single breath, and then just buckling over.
Yeah, just like,
Essentially, yeah.
Okay, but the thing is, my
Even if you
my
could
main
do
question
that.
is, can you make a distraction or like covering noise to cover the sound of a gunshot?
I think base rules, no. Base rules or built-in advanced rules.
If I was not a killer, I was, what do you call them?
Party goer.
If I was a party goer and I just wanted to fuck things up for everybody, could I just spontaneously die of a heart attack,
No.
for
No.
example?
You cannot.
However,
Like cholesterol.
however, one way that you can fuck with the game is simply being a party goer and then going on a killing spree.
Yeah, you can go on
Yeah.
a killing spree if you're a party goer.
You can't just decide to be a murderer.
Yeah.
And like we had a suspicion phase go on for like a half hour.
Yeah.
Like
That was-
everyone was so confused. Like we didn't know who to acquit, really.
Like that's
Yeah.
the thing about this game is even if the game, like even if somebody decides they're just going to fuck the game over, and it just gets really like confusing. It is hilarious from the point of view of the person who just decided.
Wait, if you're a party goer and you murder everybody else, does that mean you win?
No.
No. Well,
don't
You
sound
win.
very
You
sure.
win where it's important.
I'm pretty sure that just means. I'm pretty sure that just
Like,
means
can I
that
see this?
murderers win.
I
Can
just
you
want
hand
you
me
guys
this?
to know, regardless if
Like,
I'm
do
a
you just-
party goer or a killer,
I'm gonna
gonna be
actually-
killing people.
let's take a look at the killer card. Okay, win conditions: kill someone or have the killers outnumber the party goers, and remain free and alive.
Oh, that's the other thing too. Is if there's more killers than party goers, they win.
Yeah, and then for the win conditions for the party goer is all killers are killed or arrested and remain free and alive.
So like, yeah, you can kill people. It's just not in your as a party goer. You can kill people. That just doesn't align with your win conditions. You'd just be doing that for shits and giggles, which you might want to do.
Okay,
Which
why not?
like there,
Shit
Nobody
deals.
is telling you how to play the game. Once again,
let's see, and then like I also had to make a bunch of different diagrams to like I guess
Diagram.
Diagrams.
Here's like the setup, like as it says, the setup reference for everything.
these are materials that all ship with the game, by the way.
Yeah,
Why do so many people have ash as...
because they
cigarettes or
because they
cigars
smoke.
or,
Why are
like-
there so many smokers? This is the modern world.
Well, actually, the game takes place. It's the setting and
This
the theme.
is the modern world.
The game takes place. The theme is set in like kind of a noir, not quite Roaring 20. Like I'm thinking more like what would you say, like 40s, 50s,
Dirk
When I
Robley.
look at it,
like the
I
art
think-
style.
I think 20s.
Let's just wait a million years for Illustrator to boot up
and then crash.
and
This
then
seems like
crash.
a really great, like genuinely, it seems like a really great dinner party game. Because then you could, like, for example, put appetizers in every room.
Actually,
and-
that's what they do.
That's how they
and
do it, yeah.
alcohol. Okay, I mean, or not alcohol.
Or alcohol.
Either
Or
way,
alcohol.
Mostly
Definitely
alcohol.
alcohol.
Well,
In every room, and then everybody could just wander around having fun while they eat
that's
and
that's
drink.
that's
That
actually
is
that is
precisely the design of the
exactly.
game.
And like
That's how
music
we've been-
just- You could even do a costume party.
Well,
That
actually-
sounds like so much fun.
Could.
You could,
Oh,
well,
shit.
but here's the thing. Every time we've played the game, in every room there has been food laid out,
Okay,
food
guys.
and drink, and
Seriously,
also-
Halloween. Okay, we're doing a costume party. We're playing this game. We're getting alcohol and we're getting appetizers.
I'm down.
Death
Okay.
of the drunk costume
And I'm
party.
making a horror music CD compilation to play in every
God.
single
Actually-
room.
No,
Actually-
like just slightly like ambient horror music.
Well,
Yeah.
but here's the thing about
And
music
like
though.
some old jazz.
Music's actually important.
Yeah, it's actually encouraged that you play music
Mm-hmm.
because during the initial murder that kicks off the game, when everyone's like close and cover their eyes, you actually want music to be playing, because if it's just completely silent in the room, you can hear everyone breathing. You can hear feet shuffling. You can hear the person. You can figure out who's putting the cards on the body.
Can you turn up the music to cover the sound of murder?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
And again, every room that we've been in, there's been like one of them has like a cheese and meat and cracker tray. I think everyone's favorite room, when we've been playing the game, there's like a bowl of nachos and salsa. Yeah, there's food in every room. So here's the logo, or the back of a card. Tell me that doesn't look like Noir.
Looks like he's fucking.
And that's what I see. What I see is it's a mix of noir and Spy vs Spy.
Okay, yeah, I think
Which is like that's
yeah, like
Yeah.
I think the original inspiration, we were I took a lot of inspiration from Art Deco, but that is a lot of gold, and we wanted kind of a darker tone, and so I said, well, there's always like noir style mysteries, and so I just changed it from gold to silver.
because it kind of evokes the feeling of like an old like black and white murder mystery movie.
Whenever you either get murdered or get arrested, the back of your persona card has this.
And so that's like
And so, like, if you're dead, you have this side up. If you're arrested, you flip it upside down. You have this side up.
because it says house arrest down there.
Mm.
Okay.
So it's like a little reversible card.
Right.
Where are you putting this card?
So everybody gets a little like card sleeve necklace,
Like a lanyard.
a lanyard.
That's what those are called.
I know.
Card sleeve necklace.
Card sleeve necklace.
I'm gonna wear my card sleeve necklace to PAX.
My
Oh,
card
man.
sleeve network. No,
I thought it was more descriptive.
Everyone who doesn't know what a lanyard is.
I don't fucking know.
Anyway,
Everyone knows who a lanyard
do
is.
continue on about your card sleeve necklace.
They're fucking stylish. They're all the rage.
Oh God,
It's what
The
the
young-
millennials are calling them.
The young kids love
killing
them.
the industry.
so how do
With
the
with your avocado toast and your fidget spinners and
That's
your
actually
card
really
sleeve necklaces.
so how do the card sleeve necklaces work with Death of the Party?
Well, you stuff into your card sleeve lanyard.
I fucking hate you.
You stuff what into your card sleeve lanyard?
Whew. So you take your persona card, which is the person that you're playing.
He got aroused.
Nice. Coming in hot.
So you take your persona card, which is the character that you're playing. You put that with the character displayed forwards.
Okay.
Then you take your identity,
Okay.
which is whether or not you are a killer or a party goer,
Okay.
and you put that behind it. Also facing forwards, so
Can
that
you
even
show
if,
it to people?
No.
That's the whole point. It's a mystery.
What
You don't.
if you mistakenly show it to people?
Then you start over.
Then you lose.
Yeah.
As a person.
Yeah, like that's the whole thing. No one knows.
You
Who,
lose as a person.
no one knows who's a party goer and who's a killer. That's the whole point of the game.
Okay.
So I guess if you showed somebody, it'd just be like, party goers win.
Essentially,
Ta-da.
yeah.
But yeah, you want to make it so that because the identity card has like a back on it that's
Like-
just like a card design.
Literally just this.
So you want to make sure that like the front of it displays your persona, but if your lanyard flips over, you want to make sure the back of your identity card is there so that nobody sees who you actually are, even if your lanyard accidentally like flips over.
So if I can just pull it up right quick. If I... Here we go. So, and let me just grab the other card right quick. Of the
Is
party
this your card?
identity. So say you're a killer. This would be one side of the killer card. It says that you're a killer and what the win conditions are. And then the opposite side of that card, well, currently it's just a logo of the game, but future renditions will have this. So just very quick reference card.
So it's like a little cheat sheet.
Yeah.
Neat.
So all you have to do is just like glance down at your lanyard, look at this, and you're good to go.
Neat.
Yeah.
There's also there's like a whole before that first murder happens that kicks off the whole game. There's a little mingle phase, and because everybody has their persona card like facing forward, so you walk around and look at other people's persona cards because that lists the stuff that character has.
Yeah, like I'll
And so
just
you can kind of use that to get a little reference on the different things that different players in the game
right.
have.
And the thing is, like, this is what everyone sees on your lanyard. And so, looking at the butler, he has brown hair, fingerprint, blood, cigarette ash, gloves, and with the items, it shows you what clue it leaves behind as well. And then, so you have your persona and your identity cards in your lanyard. However, you also have a smaller card that corresponds with each of these items in your hand.
So yeah, you carry those with you.
Okay.
Like
And-
that's like your inventory.
Right, and then on top of that, you have the items or you have the cards that correspond to the items that are associated with your persona, and then you also have another set of cards that are associated with items that you got with your identity. So, like, if you're a party goer, you could have like a set of lockpicks or a key to open lock boxes, which we haven't really touched on, or you could have like a UV kit or a fingerprinting kit, etc.
Okay.
If you're a killer, you'll have a weapon set, so you'll have like a set of 4 guns or a set of like 4 knives or something like that.
The 4 knives thing
collection.
hasn't really happened.
Come
has
up,
it?
I might be wrong about the number of knives.
There's definitely like 4 guns.
Yeah.
Because like the idea is like you have 4 bullets.
Yeah, and the idea is like, so you have like your inventory in your hand, and the way that's arranged is on the top of the hand, on the top of the cards that you have in your hand, you have your blood spatter card face down, and then ideally right under that you have a weapon card, so that if you need to defend yourself, if you're getting ready to backstab someone, you've got the cards necessary, like immediately just ready to go. And then we haven't really talked about lock boxes very much, or at all.
So every room that the game takes place in,
Well, not every room, but
not every room, just a few of them.
Yeah.
Just a few different rooms. There's what you have called the lockbox, which is just like a little yellow envelope with cards in it. And if you I think have a key, you can just open that at any time, right?
yeah, you can open it with people in the room with
Yeah,
you.
you can open it with people in the room if you have a
but
key.
what about, like, for example, a bobby pin?
Or lockpick.
If you have lockpicks, there can't be anybody in the room when you open it.
And you
No
have
fucking shit. I'm not gonna get caught
That-
busting open a fucking
exactly, and
Exactly.
the thing is, with whatever device you use to open the lockbox, you have to leave that device in the lockbox.
So like if you use the lockpick, you put a lockpick back in the lockbox.
And the lockbox usually contains really useful items such as like a
Is it
UV
actually
kit.
a box or?
No, it's
like
just a little envelope.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so and usually it contains like a fingerprinting kit or a
Like a
UV lamp
kit
or something, or it can contain a whole weapon set.
you might find weapons in there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
are
it
you?
might be worth if you find lockpicks, might be worth finding an empty room and looting it.
Yeah, I think there's an advanced rule where if someone who's under house arrest has lockpicks on them, at the end of the game they escape and win.
Yeah, I think that rule exists.
Yeah, I mean, unless they're the killer, and in which case, if they are the killer and the partygoers outnumber them, then they still lose. Because that's
Yeah.
one of the win conditions for the killers, or for the partygoers. I mean, the partygoers have to outnumber the killers. You've played it like I want to say you've played it twice.
Now that you mention it, I think I might have played it twice.
Yeah,
I mean, I think we covered the mechanics a lot.
but in
like,
terms
how
of
it
like,
physically happens.
so we've done a lot of objective talking about the game.
Yeah.
How do you guys like on a subjective level? What do you guys think of it?
I absolutely love it.
Well, because there is a question at first before you play your first game of like, well, but how do I play it? And the answer is
Do it.
do
Just-
it.
just
That
do
literally
it.
is the answer because it's like there's no how to play it. There's how
Like,
do you want to play it.
It's
Yeah.
it's a weird dichotomy where the rules are extremely confusing and like
First.
at first, yeah, but then you play it once and you realize just how like open the game is.
Yeah.
Really, what they're doing is they're kind of gamifying just like a dinner party of people having fun.
Yeah. But I think that's one of the things I love about the game the most is just how open it is to whatever you can do. Like you can,
Like in a weird roundabout and confusing kind of way, the rules basically just tell you to do whatever the hell you want.
yeah.
There's some constraints so that
Not
it is still
many.
a game, but yeah, not that many.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I think it's a really cool game. I personally really like it. I think it's a really interesting concept. because I've never really seen a game like it before.
No, it's. Well, one thing I like about it is it feels like a nice self-contained murder mystery dinner.
Yes. Yeah.
Like you don't have to go to an event for that. You just gather some friends.
Exactly.
Put out some snacks.
Yeah.
Have yourself a murder mystery.
Because like, I think it's really cool.
It sounds cool.
Yeah.